everyone, I'm Jacinta Maree. You're listening to my interview with Alain Goodman on gogoodman.com.au.
Welcome back to the Alain Go Goodman Show. Yes, back on air. Oh my God, it's good to be back. And I've got one of my favourite guests in the studio sitting opposite me, and she is on mic 2. Let's try that.
Hello.
Jacinta Maree. She's back in the studio. I had her on back in November, I think it was, October or November for last year.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, for her first book in her series, the Immortal Gene series called Soulless. But now her second book has come out. It's called Soul Finder. Jacinta, welcome back to the Alain Go Goodman Show.
Thank you so much. It's always amazing, and I'm actually quite pleased that I'm your favourite guest here.
One of.
Not letting that one go.
One of. No, we have good banter.
Oh,
we have good chemistry. It's always good. It's you and Rex Hunt.
Yeah, oh, wow. Thank you. But no, thank you so much for having me back and inviting me back. It's always amazing being able to share my world with the public. And plus, I get to talk about my books. So win-win for me. All good.
But before we start, I've come up with a little bit of a game, and we've discussed it just to make sure it works. So what I've come up with, I've got a kid's book in front of me, one of the most famous kids' book of all time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And Jacinta's aim, or Jacinta's task, is to edit the book, or kind of rewrite part of the book, to turn it into her desired genre of...
Well, I like to say I can write a suspenseful or a thriller. That's kind of like I'm able to achieve that, so I'll give it a shot. Turn something beautiful dark. That's what I'm good at.
Beautiful into something that should not be seen in broad daylight.
Yeah.
So the book is The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss, and I'll read. She's done the first 7 pages, so that will give us a good indication of how good of a writer she really is. I can tell you she's a pretty good writer.
Oh, thank
because you. She's made me read a couple of her books. No,
I made gunpoint.
So the book starts off. It's The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. The sun did not shine, it was too wet to play, and we sat in the house all that cold, wet day. I sat there with Sally, we sat there we two, and I said how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out and too cold to play ball, so we sat in the house, we did nothing at all. So all we could do was to sit, and we did not like it, not one little bit. Bump! And then something went bump. How that bump made me jump. Genius. We looked, then we saw him step in on the mat. We looked, and we saw him, the Cat in the Hat. And he said to us, "Why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny."
Harmless.
Yeah, it sounds like a classic kids' novel. Mm-hmm. But that's not the aim of the game. So you've got till the end of the show to kind of rewrite. You've been making a few notes.
Yeah, I know. I should have really prepared this earlier, but let's wing it.
Yeah,
see what I can do.
Let's wing it. So that's the book that we're going to edit, or that Jacinta's going to edit. She hasn't asked for my help at all. We originally agreed that she'd ask for my help, but no, she's quite confident doing it on her own.
I tried to get your opinion. You didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. That's her shtick, so I'll leave it to her. And before we get into the interview, let's play another song. I'm feeling like another song. We've got the book. You're writing away, so let's get into... This is a classic. Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick have been touring the world promoting the the Trolls.
That new movie that's coming out.
The Trolls. I think it's called The Trolls. And they've been doing a few songs together, I think. So this one is an Earth, Wind and Fire classic called September, and it sounds really cool. So let's play it, and then we'll get straight into the interview with Jacinta Maree at 12 minutes past 2. What is with these songs ending suddenly? I gotta get out of this. The first one ended suddenly. Yeah, but we're back. We're back. Now, I do have some questions because you're not in here for 4 minutes just to rewrite a book. We've got other things to talk about, apparently. Can you give me a brief outline of Soulfinder and how it connects to the first book in the series, Soulless?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start with that. That's a good place to start.
That's an easy question. Okay, so a Soulfinder just pretty much picks up straight off where I left off in Soulless. Soulless was a bit of a cliffhanger ending.
Literally.
So I picked it up.
Can you say what the end of Soulless was? Are you comfortable doing that and going into the second book?
To the point where obviously the protagonist Nadia has teamed up with I'll use the word love interest, but I use it loosely, Diesel, and they're in a life-death situation right now where to escape an immediate threat, Nadia, who doesn't know how to swim, has to jump off a cliff into the ocean. And you basically, not really like wanting to give away too much away, but it ends with her drowning in the water. And you don't know if she's going to make it out or not. And obviously there can't be book 2 or book 3 without her making out. So it's not that much of a spoiler. Common sense, she has to get out of the water.
Hang on. But this next books could be like another life.
Yeah, that's right. It is about reincarnation. So it could have been, but it didn't go down that way. So book 2 picks up and it dives in deeper into the following up exactly what a soulless is and Nadia as an individual and Nadia's Diesel's relationship together as it gets more and more extreme, more and more toxic, and they become so almost dependent on each other. It becomes almost like an unhealthy obsession with one another. So it is quite dark and it is quite fast-paced and violent, but there is some beauty behind it as Nadia changes Diesel for the better and Diesel is able to accept another human being into his life after so many generations of pretty much being a solo wolf. So that's one of the focuses is on their relationship, and it just goes into basically them trying to work out how they're going to stop this end to the world as they know it. So yeah, that's the basic gist.
What was the key for you to writing a good sequel? I mean, you've done sequels before in your other series, My Demonic Ghost. Mm-hmm. So what are some of your... Before even thinking of the story, what are you thinking? How do I make this sequel good so that people will buy the third book?
Yeah. So keep it going.
So what are some of your keys?
I think it's really important to keep creating and keep evolving your characters. So always give them something new to learn, always try and push the limits. I try and stay away as being predictable in plotline as I possibly can, but a lot of my focus goes on to the individual characters themselves. And I hope the relationship is a big hook factor for a lot of readers because they don't know what's going to happen and they don't know how these people are going to evolve and change and learn. So that is one of my main factors. Another one is, of course, explaining anything that may have not been very clear and linking book 1 and book 2 back by introducing similar characters, past characters, or basically, there's a lot of interweaving with it. You have to be always pushing it forward, but at the same time, making sure there's no really alienation and always bringing back familiar grounds that the reader will always understand and feel comfortable with. So I think that's one of my main goals.
How do you know what's predictable?
Just staying away from stereotypes and cliches.
For example, can you give me an example of what would have been a predictable part of the book?
Yeah, so predictable. So I try and stay away from them so much it's pretty hard to give an example. I guess in one of them you might expect a character to react in a certain way. So the damsel in distress can happen. The male character might go, "Oh, I'll save you," and he might swoop in. But in the end, I always like to say, nah, he's not going to care. He's not going to be that character. So she has to either save herself, or some third party will have to come in, or something that just the reader won't be able to understand, like the recipe behind the story. So I'm continuously trying to surprise myself as I'm writing it. I'm like...
Which, it's interesting, sorry, but, like, if you watch something like Superman or Batman, like, you know that Superman is always going to come and save the day. It's a predictable ending, yet you still get shivers down your spine when you see him rip off his jacket into the Superman suit. So do you have to try and fit that feeling of spine tingling in there as well, even though that might come from the predictable ending?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, the reason why they love it so much, because originally when it was, created, that was still an original idea and people loved it so much. It's kind of, that's how it stayed a classic. That's how it's become a stereotype or a cliche. To try and generate those, those tingles and trying to keep the audience happy, you're just trying to deliver those same key scenes, but in different ways than what the reader would be expecting it. So there'll be no superhero ripping off the top and there's the symbol underneath the t-shirt, but it could come in a twist or in a surprise that still get those tingles, but obviously not in the manner that you're expecting to get it. Hopefully, that's what I try and do. It's one thing to try and do, another one to actually achieve it. But yeah, that's my whole goal. I'm always trying to learn new things, always trying to push the envelope, always trying to do something different. Because I write to explore these themes and to have fun and to do something different. And that's pretty much the only reason why I keep writing. If I'm just following a recipe, just giving people what they expect and what I think they would want, it'll be almost like reading any other book. It won't be me. Like
reading a newspaper.
Yes, exactly. It won't be me anymore. It'll be somebody else's words. I'm just retelling it. I don't want to do that.
This is an interesting question. Did you ever find you had too many characters to keep track of? Like, for example, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, she's made hundreds and hundreds of characters and different spells and different locations and different teachers. Some she's killed off, some she's kept, some she's introduced through different books. Did you ever get overwhelmed by the amount of characters or situations or terms that you had used that you had to keep
absolutely
keep using throughout the next book and then into the third book?
Yeah, I have a trouble of trying not to shoot myself in the foot. So I say, like, a lot of my writing, I will plant something in there for me to reference back to, but I might not know what I need until I actually reach that point in the future. So I leave myself openings everywhere so I can always come back and work it out later, which can, sometimes shoot myself in the foot. Lucky for me, a lot of my characters, because they live in a post-apocalyptic or a dystopian world, it is a very dangerous and violent world, and death is just something that's part of the game. So even though I don't want to be the type who just kills off a character because they're no longer useful, but you have to understand that that's the world, that people who do come into the book will die. And you just have to accept it. It's not really a plot change, or it's not really part of the story. It happens. And so I'm lucky that I can kind of keep track of my characters that way. But the biggest thing is trying to keep track of everyone's motivation and trying to keep track of the end goal. Things change, people change, and that's the thing that I find is the hardest to keep track of. Not so much people.
Just their development.
Yeah, exactly. Where they're going, why they're doing certain things. Just keeping it in a line, making sure it always stays true to them without me twisting it so it suits the plot. I'm like, it has to make sense that this is their motivation.
So how much backtracking do you have to do for any given character or any given part of the book?
I always have to plan ahead. So I'm always careful that I hit key points when I have to hit them. So thankfully there's not a lot of me actually going back and having to change anything, but I keep track of everything, every main plot that I plant. I'm aware of it. And I'm like, okay, I have to make sure I've hit this point. I have to make sure this ties back in and this is explained properly. Otherwise, if I forget it, it's just going to leave this gapping hole which would be really sucky because I'm like, I knew it, I just forgot. So you have to be continuously on your toes. And I just keep a notepad next to me, just reminding myself, this is what the character said.
So this is what the character said. This is where they are now.
Yeah.
And how can I integrate them into this part of the book?
Yeah,
where
exactly.
I'm up to. Okay.
Yeah. So it is just almost like a textbook referencing myself all the time.
So you've got the book you're writing and you also have a notepad
a book
rewriting the book.
Yes. I could always say, like, just writing the history and the characters' backstories and their developments is a book on its own because there's just so much detail that goes into it. And I call it the iceberg effect, where you only tell or show the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much planning beneath the surface that you don't even see, but it has to be there. So I make sure everything runs in a line that they always match up. So it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Let's take a break and we'll come back and read a little bit of Soul Finder right after this on the Alain Go Goodman Show at 27 minutes past 2. Welcome back to... Oh, it's a sudden ending as well. Pete, fade it out. Welcome back to the Alain Go Goodman Show. Now, you're going to read... You've picked out a little excerpt of Soul Finder and you're going to give us a little bit of a read. So let's get the music ready. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm ready to go.
So I might turn the music down a little bit so it's not so loud. Okay.
So I'm not going to add any context to this.
No. Oh, do you want to or not?
Nah, whatever.
Okay.
It's fine. Are people really that bad? I nodded, thinking of Mum and Dad, of Fitzgerald, and of Ricky lifting up his gun to shoot her down. I thought of myself, my kills, my ugliness. Yes, they are that bad. I wouldn't even call Diesel a good person. But we can trust him to help us. The sound of footsteps pulled me up from my chair. Oh, looks like Diesel's back. A flashlight swept past the room, followed by more footsteps. Voices bubbled up, a combination of female and male. I quickly dropped down and pulled Hero to the ground with me. The bottles around us cluttered. I cut my hand over Hero's mouth, covering his surprised yelp. I could hear the rattle of guns as the group neared. Hey, you hear that? One of them whispered. They slowed when passing by the chemist, the light from their torch stretching out into the room. Footsteps continued inside. Pretty sure we're not meant to be on this level. Our job is to find drifters, yeah? That's what we're doing. Oh, crap. Not more poachers. I tensed and held Hero closer against the cabinet, tucking my knees tightly to my chest. Another 3 lights moved into the room, sweeping across the area. Is someone here? A female called. Come out. We're not going to hurt you. My eyes trailed up, quickly spotting all of our food, ammunition and water scattered out across the tabletop. I held my finger to my lips, signalling Hero to be quiet. He quickly nodded. I scurried around the cabinet, keeping myself in a crouch, which caused my calves to scream in pain. I moved quickly, jumping the gaps in between the standing racks and crawled to where I stashed my pistol under the blankets. Hero pressed himself against the empty shelves, holding his breath. I could see him out of the corner of my eye. On the other side of the cabinet, Dirty Boots stepped into view. I positioned myself carefully, shielding my body behind the metal racks. I held the gun out and quietly eased the trigger back. A voice shouted out, "Whoa, we found a live one, boys!" Their footsteps suddenly turned and bolted from the room.
This music reminds me of Plants vs. Zombies.
I've never actually played that game.
Ah.
No, I'm one of those people.
One of those people.
The few that's still around.
Well, I've never watched Game of Thrones, so I'm one of those people.
Wow, that's a bigger achievement than me.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, so let's get back into the interview before we play your chosen song.
Yay.
The Jacinta Maree that I know is cool, calm and collected, very excitable, very friendly.
Oh, thank you.
And she's the one that's sitting right there. But where does Jacinta Maree author get her inspiration from? Like, I literally can't imagine you sitting in, like, a den going, I'll do this. Like, where does it come from? There's a lot of... I think there's more blood and gore in this book than there was in Soulless.
Yes.
Where do you get this from? Have you seen someone?
No, but is there something happened to me in my childhood?
Is there any part of you that that kind of wants to be that person in real life?
No. It's
Does that person scare you sometimes? Scare the real you sometimes?
It's exciting, though. I mean, I know it's terrible to say that, but it is exciting when it becomes a violent, fast, scary, dangerous book or world. It's exciting to read about, but dear God, I don't want to live it. I don't want to be that. I get squeamish watching the Animal Channel, you know? I'm fine with horrors, but I'm terrible with gore. I would say a lot of this inspiration or influence that comes to writing these are from games. I'm a big game player, and in particular, I loved playing The Last of Us, which is a zombie survival game. And it was one of the most amazing games that I've ever played. And it was quite violent and quite scary, but it was addicting because you always had your adrenaline going. So that's what I was trying to kind of do with the Immortal Gene series. I'm not saying that I'm secretly a twisted person who likes causing danger and whatever, but it's just part of the trade. It's a way to keep the reader engaged, I would say, and myself interested as well.
Like, does also Jacinta Maree, if you're hanging out with friends, like seeing a movie or going to have lunch, does that Jacinta Maree creep into real life Jacinta Maree sometimes?
No, not really. No, very separate people. The Jacinta Maree that I present at conventions or to the public or whatnot is still very close to who I am as just on my own time. I'm probably a lot friendlier out in the public because I'm in an environment where
because you're being paid.
No, I'm not being paid. No.
If you're at a convention, you are.
No, as in I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm a lot happier there. When I'm by myself, I'm quite a quiet person and I'm quite recluse. So I very much stay by myself in my room. I'm very closed off. I've been told that I can be quite, a closed off person, as in I don't really explain my feelings very well. I don't really reach out to a lot of people. But the author, Jacinta Maree, is very much out there. She's very much exploring different human connections, and I would want to be Jacinta Maree more than just Jacinta a lot of my times, but I can't always, it's exhausting. I can't always be on, so to say. I guess hopefully that answers your question.
Does that fine, so we'll call you Jacinta and author Jacinta Maree.
Yeah, okay.
Does Jacinta Maree scare you? Like, do you ever want to be that person that has that crazy mind? Or do you just like keeping that person to yourself and not showing that to anyone else? She's
exciting, that other part. She's fun. She's a lot of fun to be around. She prizes me when it comes to writing. There's a lot that happens in Soulfinder, which I'm a planner, so I like to plan everything. But when it actually comes to writing and the inspiration, and when scenes kick in, it is a huge light bulb moment. Not scared, just really excited to be able to convey that information across into, obviously a written form, into a book, and share that with everybody. If anything, I would wish she would pop up more often.
Can you bring her out more often?
I don't know. I don't know how to trigger it.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Listening to music is a big trigger point.
Like, how is she different to you and me talking now?
She, I would say she's just...
I mean, it sounds weird, but you do have like this person in your head that's like your writer person. It's like, it's not quite an alter ego because it's not someone that you can access all the time.
Yeah, you have to. It pops up when
when you're working.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be able to have a conversation with her because she doesn't exist in this world. It sounds weird, but she doesn't. She exists in this fantasy world.
Like for example, if you're in your room writing and then your mum comes in without knocking, who does she see?
Well, she'll probably see the Jacinta Maree then, because I wouldn't be responding.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really. But the moment they tear me out, like if the moment I'm away from the book, I'm back to just Jacinta. I'm back to who I am. The Jacinta Maree personality is purely something that only I can ever really see, because it's only when I'm closed off or away from this reality, that she's able to kick in and take over and write these things and do this stuff to these people that I wouldn't really think about at all.
It's weird.
It makes me sound crazy, but it's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, you're earning money out of it.
Yeah, so at least she's writing something that people seem to enjoy.
Yeah.
So keep coming, I guess.
So does Jacinta get scared of anything that Jacinta Maree writes? Like, does it shock you when you reread the book?
Yeah. A lot of the times, especially when you're in the moment and you step back and you leave that world and you come back and reread some stuff, you're like, what the hell?
Like,
What's wrong with you?
Do you remember writing it?
Vaguely.
Really?
Vaguely. Only because you're in such a state of mind where you're 100%. If you can try to imagine it, it's like vividly daydreaming. So you're 100% in this world and in this situation. You're feeling these things. You're doing these actions that you don't really realize you're just writing it. You really think you're there. So when I step away from that and these four walls are built back up and you go back and read about it, it is quite terrifying to think, how did your mind think of that? Why are you seeing that? Why are you smelling these things? But it's not so much a fear as it is a fascination with it, because I'm like, that is so cool. I wouldn't be able to just trigger that from just out of nowhere, which you'll probably notice when I read or try and read what I've really poorly written here about the Cat in the Hat remake. It's very different to my actual writing with Jacinta Maree is there, and she's pulling up all
Right,
these
so
things.
Jacinta Maree didn't come into this studio at all.
She came at the end of this when I said, like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'm getting something here.
Yeah.
But, things have to trigger it
Yeah.
to get that light bulb. And
I can just imagine when you're like 95 years old in a retirement home, when you're retired from writing, Jacinta Maree will just be you. You'll revert to Jacinta Maree full time. You'll be like this creepy witch lady that in the old age home that everyone's scared of.
Yeah. With 1,000 cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you hear like actors do crazy things to get into character.
Yeah.
And whoever's played the Joker, like I've heard Jared Leto,
yeah.
now has done crazy things. Heath Ledger, it allegedly killed him trying to play the Joker.
Wow.
But is that
It's something similar. I don't know if it's to that extreme.
Is that something that you can relate to?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, not to that extreme where it possesses me to the point it's my 24-hour state of mind.
Yeah, because if someone interrupts them when
Yeah.
they're in character, they're still in character.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if they're really good at what they do, they don't come out
break.
of character when someone says hi to them because they're in the middle of shooting.
Yeah. So whereas writing is obviously a bit different. I'm not just one character. I can be multiple. I can be a world. I can be a sense.
That's weird. Yeah. Go on.
So it does get it is like, it can be quite overwhelming at sometimes, but at no point does it just 100% fully take over to the point where I am unable to come back from being in this environment. I mean, it's definitely a mood changer. I've had some times where Soulless or sci-fi and can get so dark, I need to leave it because being in that world is so emotionally draining. I shut myself out in my room, or I have to go watch some sort of animated series to make me happy again. Also, recently I've been watching a lot of the Sherlock Holmes with Benedict.
Yeah.
And that has just been a real good...
Benedict, are you on a first name basis?
Yeah, I know him and
Benny,
I go...
Benny.
Me and Benny boy. We go way back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... I think a lot of writers would say the same thing, that they get overwhelmed or overtaken by whatever they're writing, by the characters. But I don't know if it's to the extent that actors, especially professional actors, get into the roles. But very similar, just on a lower key. I never leave my apartment to go actually try and shoot someone, like what happens in the book. So, touch wood. You never know.
So what keeps you going back to that world? You say it can overwhelm you.
Yeah, well...
But then how long do you take off before you're like, I want to go back to this. I miss doing this.
Yeah.
I want to try it again.
It does take a little while because it is very exhausting. But right now, I have deadlines is the biggest thing that pushes me back in. I have people who want to read it, and I don't want to disappoint anybody, and I don't want to be selfish in the way that I'm not ready to go back in, but some people are, and I don't want to be the type that just only thinks about myself, because right now, once it becomes published, it's not really me anymore. It's a community. It's now out there for everybody to be a part of and everybody to enjoy. So I try and get back there as fast as I can, but at least a couple of months I need off to really just reset my mind and see it clearly all over again, because you get all caught up in the nitty-gritty details of the world. And you got to remember there's a bigger picture at the end of the day, and there's multiple things you have to consider, and you can't just be of one mindset and just focus on that.
Is that like mid-book or post-book? You need to take that long break?
Post-book, mostly.
Post-book,
yeah. I can't really touch Soul Reaper, which is the last one. I can't even begin to go into it right now because I'm just too exhausted from Soul Finder. And
from writing it and thinking about it. It's not even the press. It's being in that world.
It's not Oh, the lights flooded. Oh.
Did you see that?
Yes. It knows what's coming.
Yeah. Right, let's go to your song that you picked.
I know everything's going off here.
Was that
the phone?
Okay, right.
The lights are going, the phones are going.
Oh, that's crazy. Right, I want Jacinta back. So 21 Pilots with their song Heathens is coming up right now.
Yeah,
it's
from the Suicide
choice.
Squad. Yeah.
Jacinta's choice, from Suicide Squad. So we'll be right back with more of Jacinta Maree after this.
Looks like you might be one of us.
Welcome back to the Alain Go Goodman Show on 88.3 Southern FM. We'll ask Jacinta a couple more questions before we read the next part of the book. You've got one book left in the Immortal Gene series. It's called Soul Reaper.
Yes.
Do you regret making it a trilogy yet?
I think...
As in either it's too much to write or it's not enough?
Oh, no, yeah. No, I seem to work well with threes. It allows for a main plot arch as well as individual plot points. So there's always something going on without it becoming a Game of Thrones where everything is so complicated that it becomes like this giant mess. But no, I don't. I think 3 is quite a good number to end on. People seem to accept trilogies as that's enough of that world. We've had enough.
Oh, there can never be enough Toy Story.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I think there's a 4th one coming out soon.
Oh, is there?
I think so, yeah. 2017.
After they've... Oh, anyway, spoilers. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's surprising.
Spoilers. It was in like 5 years ago to Toy Story 3.
No, because I know at the end of the 3rd one...
Yeah, the
anyway.
toys left. Yeah,
yeah, the toys are gone. But anyway, so it really depends on, obviously, the genre. The Immortal Gene, I feel like 3 is enough. It's probably... I could have maybe ended it at 2 if I really just bulked up book 1 and 2. But I wanted to have the 3rd book so I can really just dive into as much detail into each character's individual lives as possible. But a 4th one will probably be dragging it on too much. So no, I'm very happy with 3.
Do you ever feel like you want to not say how many books are going to be in the series and just write? Like J.K. Rowling's got 7. I'm not sure if she said 7 from the very start.
Yeah.
But that's 7 books.
Yeah.
And they're all over 500 pages each.
It's a huge commitment to say like...
But she's a billionaire.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's a lot of writing, but do you ever want to do something like that?
It depends on the story. I know I've got one coming out with Ragnarok Publishing called Time Weaver. It's a steampunk supernatural, and
steampunk.
You don't know what steampunk is? Oh my gosh! No, it's a genre.
A rapper from the 80s. Steampunk.
It's a genre. There's a lot of like genres that very follow the trend. I like to explain it's almost like a different way of evolving our world. So without going 100% fantasy, it's almost like a pseudoscience or a science fiction to it, where instead of electricity becoming our main supply of power, it could be steam instead, and there's alternative technology that's been progressed and formed to suit steam. So there might be a lot more hot air balloons opposed to aeroplanes, so to say. There's also like diesel punk and there's cyberpunk.
So what makes it punk?
Oh, I think it's just, I don't know why punk. I don't know why. It's just the way that the subgenre is named, and it's just a lot of just different detailed behind which one you choose. So steam, diesel, cyber, whatever. I'm not an expert to go into it so much.
You're not a punk expert.
I'm not a punk expert, unfortunately.
Yeah, so go back to trilogies.
Yeah, so the steampunk one is such a large world that I'm able to really extend beyond just 3, which I probably will. But the Immortal Gene is so strictly in our world, I felt kind of restricted to just keeping it to 3, keeping it interesting without really dragging unnecessary detail or plot line out of it. That would just kind of have people rolling their eyes, like, oh, she's just trying to get a page count or whatever.
Now, you've got some text messages in.
Oh, do I?
One says, "Go Diesel, getting a mention on radio."
Oh, I wonder who sent that.
And the next one says, "Hi, listening from Perth. Jacinta, how long does it take your original spark of idea until you have a whole book planned?"
Oh, good question. So originally...
If you want to text in, you can leave your name so we can credit you as well.
Yeah, please do. Please let me know who's texting.
Person.
Perth person.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I might know, but I don't want to throw the name out there just in case I'm wrong.
Okay.
So how long does it take? So from the initial spark idea, it might take a couple of weeks to get the main body of it down, because as I said, there's an iceberg effect where I need to know everything about the world, the characters, what they like, what they don't like, how they act with other people, and why they act that certain way. So there's a lot of world building going on before I even start the book. When it actually comes to writing my first draft to the point I'm ready to publish, it could take me a year to do. So, and I'm a lazy writer. I consider myself very lazy.
Great job application there.
I know. Hire me. I'm pathetic. No. So I'm very slow, but I'm only slow because we need that Jacinta Maree person to kick in.
Hire me. I'll do it when I feel like it.
Yeah, screw you, man. I'm tired. Go watch some TV. What's happening with Sherlock Holmes? So, yeah, it does take me a little while, because I know authors, you can knock out books within months from moment of inspiration to moment of hitting the publish button, and it's completed and it's done. And I look at them, I'm like, why and how? Stop being better than me.
Ask them about it?
Oh, nah, because I kind of know the answer. It's sit down and do it.
Yeah.
Stop putting excuses.
Procrastination station.
Yeah, rival of one. So I know the answer. It's just a matter of actually doing it. But I'll get there. I get there in my time. A year isn't too bad. I know there's shows and books that have to wait 5 years just to get the new release out. So a year isn't too bad, I like to think. So go me. Good on me.
Let's do one more question from me before we read another part of Soulfinder.
Yep.
How has Soulfinder been received?
Really, really well. Thankfully, I'm very, very happy with how people have been responding to me. I get a lot of questions of just people who are so interested in the world that want to dive in a little deeper and ask me, how did I figure out this, or how do we get to that point?
Are they healthy?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Yep,
I love it. Once I get those messages, I'm like bouncing on my seat because I'm just so excited to keep talking about it.
Is it hard for you to create parts of the world that you hadn't originally thought about?
Sorry, what do you mean?
So if someone asks you about a specific part of the world.
Oh, that I
in your
haven't
book.
considered.
Yeah, that you haven't considered. Do you need to think about that and make sure you've got a good answer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they asked a question that I haven't considered before, I'll be like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I would think down and go back to my original planning.
Do you have to go back and read the book?
I have to go back and go like, what was I thinking? What was going through my head? Because, as I said, I write it all down in Notepad, so I have got the gist.
Okay, so you've got to have a notepad. You've got to have one that's the book. You've got to have one on the left that's the situations and the locations. One on the right that's the characters.
Yeah.
And then you've got to have one on the extra right that's what you're thinking.
Yes, exactly. So you look at my room, it's a disaster. It's like one of those crime scenes. I've got strings.
You got sticky notes all over the walls.
Someone walked in and like, oh my gosh, she's a mad woman. But a lot of when it comes the feedback, and I love the feedback as well because they let me know what I need to touch on in the next
Your curtains
book.
are made out of old tablecloths.
Yeah, I know. Sunlight. So it lets me
Sleep on a fold-out bed. I just need to get through this book.
making me sound crazy. That's true. It just lets me know what I have to do next. But it's been really positive, and I believe it's been positive because I've gone back and listened to what everyone has said, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff. I take it on board. So if you do end up reading it and you have got an opinion, please let me know because I will take it on board and try and make as many people happy as possible while still staying true to what the story is and what has to be told.
So what have some of the good points and some of the bad points been?
Some of the bad points, they said that, you didn't explain a certain thing properly. We don't understand why a character, say they were in a fight, why this character suddenly isn't acknowledging that they've been wounded or whatever. And I have to go back. I'm like, okay, I'm not really focusing on the body, the reaction from a body more, so I have to go back and do that. Some like the good points
Got
are
people at your door with pitchforks and flames. Why haven't you explained this?
Yes, exactly. So I do get a few of them like, why? And another one is like, why are people lining up for food when like you can get alcohol really easy? I'm like, oh, okay, well, I actually thought of that beforehand.
That's the real world.
That's the real world. I thought of it before. I'm like, well, demand and supply is there. And it's a lot easier to have alcohol readily available than opposed to perishables, which people will need to line up to get. So hopefully I try and explain it a bit better. But the good stuff is obviously the developing relationship. A lot of people wanted to see how it went, so I've targeted that, which they've turned around and said how much they appreciate it, that I've drawn a lot of focus onto Diesel and Nadia, as well as individuals and them as a couple and how they suit each other or don't suit each other in different aspects. So I think that's one of the reviews are so important. They 100%. They can change the book. They can make the book come faster if if the author gets really motivated by your words of kindness. But always be like, if you didn't like it for whatever reason, it is always good to be constructive with your criticism. Because I take everything on board. I'd like to think I got pretty thick skin, so just let me know.
Yep.
And if I'm crying in the corner, it's completely unrelated, so don't worry.
Oh, God.
Part of the gig.
We have one more question from Liv.
Olivia?
It just says Liv.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who that is? Do you want me to
I
read
know
out-
an Olivia.
Do you want me to read out the number? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Do you know how the trilogy will end?
Yes, I do. I do know, and I only know
100%?
100%. 99.9%.
Okay.
And it's actually something that it wasn't my original plan. So I do know how it's going to end. It wasn't my original plan. It's just how it's been developing, and just the body that it's shaping. So yes, I do. But that being said, it's not 100% yet because it always, as I write, things change, situations change, my understanding always changes. So I never really know until I've actually hit the end, but I've got a pretty good understanding.
Reminds me
In
of this clip.
episode BF-12, you were battling barbarians while riding a winged Appaloosa. Yet in the very next scene, my dear, you're clearly atop a winged Arabian. Please to explain it.
Yeah. Well, whenever you notice something like that, a wizard did it.
Yes, a wizard did it.
Yeah.
But in
Is that how it's going to end?
Yeah, a wizard did it.
Played that the first time it came on. I thought it would just go well there.
Yeah, it does. It's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do know, and hopefully everyone will be happy with it, but please do keep in mind the genre that I'm writing. So it is a dystopian world, but I would still say it is an ending I will stand by, and I would be happy with it.
Right.
I know, I hope I just didn't push myself into a corner here, dug my own grave.
Do you have to work backwards now that you know the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got to work backwards. Yeah. Now I know where I want it to reach.
It's like the last episode of Friends.
Yeah, I know.
Raymond,
Comes to an end, but in a way that's good.
Let's read a little bit more of the book.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I don't know if people want something that's sweeter opposed to something that's darker, because I'm always kind of reading something that's dark.
And if you've got more questions for Jacinta, text in on 0404 000 736 0404 000 736, and just leave your name if you want credit for the question.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
Where's my music?
We're not going for a swim, are we? It's called a bath. Believe me, you need one. Sometimes you can be such a jerk. He laughed, and I smiled at his genuine chuckle. He was so calm, so carefree. I felt around the space in front to find nothing. The only hint was the dip in the soft dirt beneath my shifting weight. His fingertips surprised me as he stepped closer. They touched my cheeks and moved gently down along my jaw and chin. I tilted my head up at his coaxing. He leant closer, brushing his cheek and mouth against my earlobe. He moved slowly, softly, fingers trailing, studying, caressing every inch of my face, running along my cheeks, lips, neck and nose. My heart pounded in my eardrums. The twist of unknown fear knotted my stomach, and every brush of skin contact intensified the longing. He dropped his hands and reached around my head. I could hear the rustle of his jacket up against my cheek. I could smell the dirty sweat on his face. Feel the touch of his breath. I tensed up inside his arms, my breath shaking out of me. His voice warmed my cold skin. Keep them closed. The bandage around my head loosened. The cloth slipped and fell, and a gentle red illuminated the back of my eyelids. Light. His hands found my face again, smoothing his palms and fingers along my cheeks and into my hair. It felt so sensual, so private. I licked my lips and reached up to touch his hand. Such large, warm hands, hands that bled fighting for me, hands that knew the curve of my neck and the touch of my bare stomach. Then his hands were gone. He stepped back, and instinctively I fluttered my eyes open. Bright white cut across the sky. Light haloed Diesel's body, catching the dirt and the dark bristles along his jaw. His unsure grin seemed peaceful, tilting his head to the left. His deep brown eyes softened. How's that? A little bit of something sweeter opposed to my usual...
Fine tingler?
My blood and guts marathon.
Which you're not really fond of in real life?
No, not something that I go out seeking.
Let's go to another song. Mm-hmm. We can brighten this place up a little bit. Keith Urban's The Fighter. I love this song. It's a really, really catchy tune, and yeah, I think Keith Urban's going to keep writing it. He should keep writing it for as long as he can. So The Fighter, Keith Urban on the Alain Go Goodman Show at 10 minutes past 3. Baby, I'll be the fighter. Oh, it's catchy.
I think I was dancing that whole time.
Yeah, I don't know, I've never really known much of Keith Urban's stuff because he's been more country and more American based, but this song has just gone real commercial and it's really cool.
Yeah, you hear it everywhere nowadays as well.
Like, could you name another Keith Urban song?
No, but I'm not really, I'm terrible with pop star names and just names in general. I'll know it if I hear it, but that's about it.
have you sold more copies of Soulless now that Soulfinder is out?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Noticeably more?
Noticeably more.
Really?
Yeah.
What numbers are we talking?
Oh God,
Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds?
yeah. Especially because when you work with Amazon, you can use their deals, so you can put a book up for free for a free download. And when Soulfinder came out, that's exactly what I did with Soulless. I'm like, I want people to give it a chance because obviously being a newbie, my name's not really out there at all. I said, here's book number 1, read it for free, and here's book number 2, and it skyrocketed to the point that I was like, oh my God, you cheap bastards. No, I'm joking. I joke. And now, ever since that's happened, it's really worked with me.
Was that your idea, or was that recommended by Amazon?
No, I've learned from other authors. So I know a lot of authors do that, especially when they a book 2 coming out or book 3 coming out. They like to promo their first one to get you into it, give them a chance, and realize, hey, it's pretty good, or it's not really my thing. And then hopefully it leads on to book 2, then leads on to book 3. It's probably the best way to approach a series like that. Do
you know how many books you've sold, like, of all your books? Like, do you have a number?
No.
Like, you know how, like, Bon Jovi, they said, sold, like, a couple 100 million albums or
Jeez,
whatever.
I wish.
But do you keep a track of how many books you've sold?
Not overall. I don't know overall, because, again, like, with the way Amazon works, they do have a chart for you to keep your eye on. But it refreshes after a certain amount of time, and you can't go back past that point. So I like to just make sure that there are sales happening on a day, and if there are sales happening, I'm like, cool, awesome, that's great. I like to watch the refunds, if there are any people asking for refunds, because that can happen.
Hang on, so you can get a book off Amazon, read it, and then get a refund?
Yeah. I don't want to advertise that, but it's pretty crappy. Yeah, I know. I'm
like
giving the same
99 cents or $2.99 or whatever.
Yeah, it's really cheap. But, I mean, I can understand if a person buys the book and it isn't what they like, and they might ask for a refund.
They want their dollar back.
They want their 99 cents back. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But it sucks big time.
Do you have to deal with that, or is that Amazon that takes the money out of your account and gives it back to you?
You don't get paid, basically. So they never give you the money to begin with.
So when do you actually see the money from the sale?
Sometimes when you hit a certain threshold, you get a money. So like $100 could be your threshold. Then you get the money. Yeah. But it's, I would say it's probably a time thing. So they wait until like the weeks pass before they can't then get their refund. Then they might give you the money because it's guaranteed then.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But it does happen. I know I had one particular person, and I knew it was them because it was being bought through a weird channel, and they'll buy the first book, and then within a certain time later, they've refunded it before the week's up, and then they bought the second book. Within a certain time, they refunded it, and then the third. Like, they've read through the whole series without paying a cent. And I'm like, wow, how am I going to afford to do anything if people do that? It's pretty crappy.
I'd rather read the book and enjoy it and pay my 99 cents.
I know, like, it's not a big thing at the end of the day. Like, it's 99 cents, it means nothing to you, but to me it's
hunt them down for their dollar.
Yeah, because for the author, we don't get 99 cents. Don't think we get $1. We don't. We get maybe 30 cents of that. Depends on the royalty that you're working with Amazon. So really you're cutting our pockets, cutting holes into our pants there.
You've got AMC Expo coming up next weekend. Do you set yourself a sales goal for cons?
Yeah, I do. Making my money back. That's my goal. Break even. I'm not the most ambitious person.
Yeah, you're not the most ambitious, not the most motivated, but you'll get there one day.
I'll get there. I'm there to enjoy it. So the end of the day, it's not my full-time job. So I do have a job that's my 8 till 5. Monday to Friday that I work.
8 till 5, God.
Yep, 8 till 5. And then this writing business is more of a dream that I want. So when I go to these conventions, my goal is just to make my money back so I can go to the next one and not really lose anything. Right now, I'm being profitable just because they've been received so well. Like, the cover is what sells the book. I feel like I can walk away from my table and I might still make sales just because the cover is just so well done. Like, the artist for the Immortal Gene was Thunder Lynn from A Girl in Sydney. Amazing, absolutely amazing. But that's my goal. And once I hit that, it could be 60, it could be 50, whatever costs I had to go for flights, accommodation, travel, the cost of books and products and whatnot. Whenever I make that back, you probably won't see me at my table because at that point I'm enjoying the con too much. I'm out there having fun with everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not the most ambitious, but you know, I'm there to have fun.
Track. Once you tick over that, you've made your money back.
Yeah.
You're gone. That's it.
Yeah, once I've made my money, I'm like, you know what? I'm happy. And I usually only bring enough stock to really make my money back because I can't really fork out so much money all the time buying so many books in advance. It does cost a lot to go through the publishing business. So I'm always, I'm on top of it. I'm keeping track of it.
Do you know, this AMC, it'll be a year since we've known each other.
Is it?
Yeah, that's weird.
We need a celebration.
1 year.
1 year anniversary.
Oh, I think we should have this every year.
Every year I come back.
Every year, yeah.
Oh, God, it's her again. What now?
Are you doing a panel at AMC?
No, not this time.
No?
No, not this time. Originally, I wasn't going to have anybody at my table. I was just going to be by myself, so I can't leave to go to a panel. So I have to always mind my table. Now I do have someone helping me out, but I think it's too late for me to put my name up now. And I don't know what I will talk
Can I
about.
get a volley to man your table?
Oh, I could, but I feel like I should be there, like someone who knows the book well and able to represent me. Represent! Well enough, because it can take a while, those panels, like half an hour to an hour sometimes. It's a long time to be away, missing out.
You could make like $4 on Amazon.
I know. And then like get refunded $3.99.
I've only got 2 questions left, so let's go to some sponsorship announcements, take a bit of a break, and we'll finish off these last questions, and you can read your adaptation of The Cat in the Hat.
Bugger, I forgot about that.
Bugger.
I'll get it done.
Is that a Dr. Seuss swear word?
It's a Dr. Bugger, yeah, sure.
Bugger.
Controlling myself here.
If you've got any more questions for Jacinta Maree, text in on 0404 000 736, 0404 000 736, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Alain Go Goodman Show. What we're going to do? Nope, there's no more text messages. So let's finish off these questions. Go for it. I better put your microphone back on. It's the Alain and Jacinta show today.
I'm here too.
Apparently she needs some attention.
Start throwing things.
Come from the eastern suburbs for nothing. Have you ever thought about a movie adaptation for Solace and Soulfinder? Is that something you get approached to do, or do you have to go and find it?
Oh, God. No, nothing that fancy. A lot of authors say like, oh, yeah, I'd love to see my book on the big screen or TV adaptation of it or whatever. And they always have ideas of who their characters are cast of. I don't
who they want to be in that movie.
Yes, they do.
I want Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Scarlett Johansson, and
now for the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe 50 Cent.
Yeah, 50 Cent. But I don't.
And Michael Bublé can do the soundtrack.
Aim high, man.
Yeah.
It's not really something, it's not my big goal at the end. As I said, I'm a big gamer. So what I want, and this is probably one of the reasons why
turn it into a game.
Turn it into a game. That's why I write it the way that I write it.
What do you mean by that?
How fast and action-based it is.
Yeah.
Like, especially the first one. It's a lot faster and there's a lot more danger involved and there's a lot more, what I would like to think, user interaction. So if it was turned into a game, this is the point where they would have to do this particular objective. Again, it was my big influence was The Last of Us, which is a zombie apocalypse game, and I almost was following that formula. And I'm like, yes, if this was the main character, this is how the game would run, and this is what we would have to do. So I want my book to become a game.
Do you want it to be an app game for like a smart device, like an actual video game?
No, a video game. I want the
Yeah.
console. I want the big guys. Come on, Microsoft. You know?
Microsoft.
Come
or
on, Naughty Dog.
Sony,
BioWare.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, they're gaming companies. Yeah.
Or Sony, or
Yeah, Sony's the PlayStation
Yeah.
manufacturer. But Naughty Dog did The Last of Us, BioWare did Dragon Age and Mass Effect.
so have you contacted them?
No.
So I've got a book. Let's turn it into a game, guys.
Yeah, and I
Come on.
got a great idea for you
Yeah.
guys. I think it'll do well because that does seem to be the thing that's kicking off nowadays. The big storyline, plot-driven games, especially like The Witcher's done it as well. It is open world, but it's I like to think there's a big plot behind it. But that's my dream, my goal. I really should find some contacts in the gaming industry, but I wouldn't even know how to approach them. I need to find the
Go to
writers.
conventions 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, but not for like. I go to PAX, but it's usually there's no writers there. It's usually just sales or whatever.
I reckon like some authors would have contacts, like even at Comic-Con or AMC or Nova.
Maybe. And I don't know if novel writing will be the same as game writing.
Networks. No, but they might know people if they've tried to get their
Their book
turned
into a game.
Do you know
Maybe.
someone that's done that?
No.
No?
I know nobody. One day.
Google.
Google them. Stalk them.
We've got another question
Oh.
from an unknown admirer, the best kind,
Oh.
an unnamed admirer. How is Empty Realms coming along?
Empty Realms. Okay, this is obviously someone... because I've been posting little snippets of Empty Realms on Wattpad, which is a free read. You can go read it for free. Just testing the waters a bit. I like to call Empty Realms is my remake of Pokemon, but with darker theme behind it.
But
this
still
is
with like the little animal Pokemon things.
different.
Okay.
No Pikachu, so no adorable little things. I'm talking these monsters.
Gremlins.
Yeah, so the idea of it, because it's still in production, because my focus right now is on the Immortal Gene, so I had to put it on the back burner a bit. The idea of it was that...
Instead of pick at you, it can be kick at you.
yeah. That's very clever.
Yeah, very clever. I know. Keep going. Move on.
The idea of it was that, and I actually wrote the initial idea is because I was really angry at the world. So it was me letting out my frustration. I was really mad.
Jacinta Maree, we all
Jacinta
know and
Maree
love.
reared her head,
Yep.
and I was really mad because there's just so much stuff on the telly about terrorism attacks and, attacking children and universities and shootings. And I was just getting really mad that there's just so much evil out there. And I kind of manifested into a calmer form and that your evil will come back. And it comes back by possessing, and this is where the Pokemon part comes in, it comes back by possessing our animals and mutating them into these hideous, dangerous monsters we're unable to defend ourselves against. So it's almost like a karma comes back to get you from your evil doings, from the cruelty of humanity. Good on me, I'm a bright person. And
Where does that come from?
I know, right? So that was the initial idea. Then I've warped it a bit that you're able to, I call it, you're able to possess this wild. I call it wilds. You're able to possess these wild creatures by transferring your own goodness. So your chakras. So you've got the root chakra. You've got the divine. You've got the 7 chakras of the human psyche. Yeah. Anyway, you've got them.
I thought that was your word, not an actual technical term.
No, it's I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Chakra.
How do you spell it?
Charka, I think it's spelled. No. Anyway, so you use that by transferring that part of your soul, your part of yourself into this creature, and you're able to control them, and they live with you now. So you're one mind, which is almost like the Pokemon thing, throwing out the Pokeball and capturing that Pikachu. But instead of throwing out the Pokeball, you're bonding with this creature. It's coming along, I promise. I'll get to it. It's my next big project.
So it's going to be a book series.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it'll be a book series.
I can feel an Empty Realms Immortal Gene crossover.
Oh, couldn't it? I wanted it to be a lot lighter than Immortal Gene. I wanted it
Lighter.
lighter.
Jeez, you haven't started well.
I know. It's my fallback. I know. It's obviously something dark and twisted in me that does like darkness and danger. I don't know. But I did want to make it better. Thank you for asking the question, though. That's really cool. I will get to it. It is my next big one after I finish, after I start Soul Finder and get Time Weaver up off the ground.
After you start Soul
Reaper, I'm sorry.
Reaper.
Soul Reaper, get Time Weaver. They all sound the same. Get Time Weaver off the ground, which is hopefully coming out in February of 2017 with Ragnarok Publishing. And then Empty Realms will be my next big thing. Fingers crossed.
How many books have you written?
Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7. 2 of them which are unpublished.
Wow.
I know.
So by the time you're a retired, creepy old witch at 95,
thousand cats.
yeah, you'll have like 900 books.
Yeah, I know.
And you would have made $70 off Amazon.
I know, finally. Oh, God, it's terrible. And that's me being a lazy writer. Can you imagine the people who can knock out books within a month? And they've got like 12 and they've been writing for 2 years or something.
Are they good quality?
Oh, I assume so.
You don't read the enemy's books?
The enemies? No. I would never talk down another author's book because it's all objectified. It's all about personal taste. So even if something...
no, I'm kidding.
even if something I might not particularly enjoy doesn't really give me any stand to stand there and go like, yeah, it's not a good quality book. It's like everyone's different. Everyone's got their own thing. So it might not be for me, but who knows? They probably have like a fan base that could trample my own. I don't know. So I can't really say anything.
What's on for the rest of the year in early 2017? Have you got appearances? You mentioned you've got a book coming out.
Yeah. I'm going to...
Are you going to do a Christmas special?
We'll see. Like, I'm not the greatest planner. I'm really not selling myself well on this thing. I have got, obviously, AMC. I've got books by the bridge or books under the bridge. Oh, God, I can't remember its name. That's happening early 2017. I've got Fictionally Yours that is coming out. I've got... I do Comic-Con. I try and do all the Melbourne conventions.
Is Fictionally Yours a convention?
Yes.
Yep.
Fictionally Yours is a writers' convention. I know the authors who organise it quite well. They've already launched it last year and had an amazing turnout. So I can imagine it will only get bigger and better. So I'm actually really quite blessed and honoured to be allowed to even sit in the room with them. I've had it all written down. Like, I have got a website up, which is just like a Wix page because I'm lazy and can't make my own website, which has all of my appearances. So every convention I'm going to, it's just jacintamaree.wix/jacintamaree, which you can find everything. So if anyone is interested in finding me, because I know it can be quite hard to find, especially hard copies of my books, because I am half indie, half traditional published, so a lot of the stuff I go through just myself. But you can always find me on Facebook if you want to find where I am. Just contact me. I'll be like, "Who are you, creeper?" Why? No, I'm joking.
You're really selling yourself. I'm happy to let you talk.
This is me.
I think you need a marketing course, Jacinta.
I know. I need a manager. I need someone who's like, "Shut up, shut up."
You need a mummager.
A mummager, a mum manager. Yeah.
You have another text message.
Oh.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Hello from Perth again.
Hello, Perth friend.
Her name's Joanne.
Joanne, I knew it. I love it. I knew it was you, Joe.
Okay. Do you think Nadia from Soulless and Elizabeth from Time Weaver would ever be friends?
Oh, God. Well, maybe not, to be honest. Only because the world...
Let her down easy.
The world of which Nadia is obviously been born into and grown up into, she is extremely tough. Whereas Elizabeth, she does have quite a tough upbringing, but she's a lot softer than Nadia is. So I don't know if they'll ever really find anything in common. But if they were forced into a room together, I don't think they will have problems talking to one another, as each are quite kind-hearted underneath the surface. But just in terms of hanging out for a coffee, nah, I don't see that happening. Nadia will be too busy chasing down the next gunfight, and Elizabeth would be trying to stay alive in some other way.
Now, don't forget, we've got Jacinta's version of The Cat in the Hat
yes.
coming up very shortly. Not quite yet. How have you found the transition into, like, virtual books? Obviously, they're a lot cheaper than hard copy books. Are they more popular than the hard copy? Do you find it annoying that people want to buy more virtual books than real books? I find real books are easier. I find I get very tired looking at a screen for too long and reading a virtual book.
Yeah.
It's the second virtual book I've read. And, yeah, it's hard to read for a long period of time. Yeah, because it's on an electronic device rather than an actual book. So how do you find the transition and the differences between real and virtual?
Good question. When I went into it, like, I'm a 4 years old author. So when I was being introduced to it, the ebook was already out. So I've always kind of been part of a virtual world. And I will never be annoyed at someone who would rather read the ebook over the hard copy, because quite honestly, an ebook costs me a lot less in just production ways. So there's no money coming out of my pocket. Where if you go with a hard copy, it's going to cost more, but it costs me more as well to sell it that way. So if you're more of an ebook person, totally 100% okay with that, because I probably make the same amount of money either way, whichever way you go. Just a lot less work. But I personally am a paperback girl. So I need my paperback, and I can understand, especially when I go to conventions, I tell people about the ebook version, but they're a paperback as well. Maybe they have the same problem. Maybe they don't enjoy reading off a screen because it can be quite straining on the eyes. I like paperback because I like the weight of a book. I like being able to display it, especially if the cover's really nice. I like being able to glance at the cover. It might sound a little bit weird, but once you've read a book and you've really enjoyed it, it becomes its own entity. So it's almost a mirror or a reflection of how you felt reading it, and you can look back and you kind of relive those feelings again. Whereas a Kindle, it's all mushed together. It kind of detaches you from the story again. So it's not its own body. It's not its own presence in your room. It's a file that you've downloaded. Yeah,
is it like if you've got the actual front cover, you can kind of picture the world that it's in a little bit rather than creating your own image of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just something I've always rathered. I rather paperback, but in no way.
So what do you find is more popular?
Ebook.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Has that been the case the whole time you've been an author?
Basically, yes. Because I am a small author, as in my name's not very popular. Not many people know me, not people are willing to spend their money on a paperback, unsure if they're going to enjoy my work or not. And I 100% understand that. So they're more likely to give me a chance or to take a risk on an ebook that costs 99 cents than they are to take on a book that's $20, so to say, or whatever it sells for on Amazon. I don't know. I should probably know that. I'll look into it later.
And finally, before we go to a song and get into the Cat in the Hat, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook. That's probably the most easiest way to find me. It's Jacinta Maree, spelled Jacinta, and Maree, Maree. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Tumblr. Basically, every social network. I got my hand in the pot. I'm there. I will interact to everything. You can email me as well. It's just jacintamaree@hotmail.com.au. That's my author one. So I'm very happy to get emails, very happy to talk to anybody in any platform that you want. I do have a page, which is the Wix page. That's Wix. / Jacinta Maree. Very easy to find me. Just Jacinta Maree. Google it and I'll pop up, I'm sure. Hopefully I'm first.
Let's try that.
Hopefully I'm first.
What's Tumblr?
Tumblr.
It's like pictures?
Yes, it's just pictures. It's just another way of showcasing and displaying my world, my books, and what I find of interest as well. So it's not just revolves around myself. I do share a lot of stuff that I find really interesting. So trailers to movies I'm excited about, or comics that I think are really enjoyable.
The first article on Google when I type in Jacinta Maree is Jacinta Maree, author of Banished Spirits on Goodreads.
Okay, that's a Goodreads account. Yep, that's me. Yep.
What's Banished Spirits?
That's the Demonic Ghost series, book number 1, yep. Right. So Goodreads is just a way for readers to post their reviews of books.
It's definitely all you.
Yeah!
First page is you. Oh, the pictures up. There's one picture of you.
It might be pictures of my art.
You with blonde hair?
Yeah, I used to have blonde hair.
Wow, that's a blast from a buzz. I don't know who that one is. I'll swing the screen out. This is how you do radio.
Yeah, that's all me. That's all me.
All of them?
Yeah.
That one? That one's not you.
That's me.
Is it?
That's me, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a buttload of makeup on my face, but that's me.
Okay.
Smoky eyes. There's a lot of art that piggish looking thing is not me, but
piggish.
That with the
thing.
gluttony. That's not me, but it is my artwork.
Yeah.
Representative of the seven sins from the Demonico series.
Is that one you? The one that looks like an invitation to something?
No. Damn her.
That's not you. Okay.
Damn her.
Anyway, let's go to a song and then we'll get into the Cat in the Hat.
I should probably get this done. Yep.
Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. It's a great rock and roll song, so we'll be right back after this on the Alain Go Goodman Show. Welcome back to the Alain Go Goodman Show. We're into the last 13 minutes of the show. I'm just going to skim through the Cat in the Hat again, and then we're going to get Jacinta's version
Here we go.
of the book. Oh, this will be exciting. And for anyone listening, live Sunday sessions is on after the Alain Go Goodman Show with Mark. He's got the band Satellite Gods in, which sounds very interesting. I'm not sure what kind of genre they are, but I'm sure they'll be good. Mark has a good taste in music. He's pretty pro at this. He's been doing it a little while. So, The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. The sun did not shine. It was too wet to play, so we sat in the house all that cold, wet day. I sat there with Sally. We sat there we two, and I said how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out and too cold to play ball, so we sat in the house, we did nothing at all. So all we could do was to sit, and we did not like it, not one little bit. Come at me, play school. and then something went bump. How that bump made us jump. We looked, then we saw him step in on the mat. We looked, and we saw him, the Cat in the Hat. And he said to us, "Why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny." And that is your task. You've got to make that Jacinta Maree.
I know, so
Let me put the music back on.
Jeez, I just hope I can read this terrible writing.
That's why you use a computer.
I know, I'm a fool. I should have prepared. All right, well, this will be interesting.
Hang on. There we go.
Okay. Okay, I'll stop smiling.
Try not to laugh.
Okay. A deep storm has set across the town. Dark clouds squeezing in tight, creating a blanket across the sky. The light could not break free, sending black rain crashing down. 2 young children sat alone inside, with their faces pressed up against the cold glass. Conrad and Sally, they shared brief glances as the shadows from the corners were pressed back by the passing lightning bolts. "How I wish we had something to do," Conrad whispered. Sally's hand gripped in her lap. A cold draft brushed past them. Hours passed. No sign of Mum. Not even a whisper of a phone call. The 2 children couldn't do much but watch the storm hit their house. And suddenly, above the pattering of the rain, a noise shifted behind them. Bang! Both turned, startled, at the drag of furniture. It belonged to something big, something heavy, cutting across the room. The lights cut out, sending the house into a wave of silence. A shadow moved. The front door swang open, the frame hitting the wall and rebounding off. Sally kicked off her chair, her arm gripping Conrad's. They didn't speak. They couldn't. Fear squeezed up their throats. Someone stood at the front door, or something. The creature jerked around in their direction. His sharp chin turned down, covering up his face. All they could hear was a deep growl, rattling up from the back of its throat. "Why?" He started to speak. A voice twisted behind an alien pitch. Do you sit like that? The children's breath caught. They eased back, matching the figure's steady advancement. I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good. He paused, looking them over. His thin lips peeled back, flashing sharp teeth. Fun that is funny. There we go. That's the end. That's the best I could do. Yay! Applause! That was my panicked writing.
Wow. And the bump was in the perfect spot
Was
to the
it?
music. Could you hear the music?
Faintly.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out my own writing.
Oh my God, that I think that worked very well.
Oh, thank God. It was either going to work or not work. I feel like a complete disaster.
When I put this interview on my website, gogoodman.com.au, you'll be able to listen back to that as much as you want. Whoa.
Copyright, Jacinta.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
No, I don't think you can copyright that.
No.
We're not earning any money from this.
No.
Wow.
That's my attempt. My
that
very
was
panicked
interesting.
rush.
Are you happy with that?
Hopefully it went okay. I mean, I could always make it better, but in the amount of time that I wrote it in.
I can never read that ever again.
They said if your kids are ever been naughty, just send them to me. I'll destroy all their childhood dreams and stories.
Oh, wow. Are you adrenalized now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been
am.
since the beginning of the interview. I'm like, well, I think my adrenaline was running, having to write this thing down. Like, oh, what am I going to do?
Well, we've got like 3 minutes till we can wrap up the show. So what
yep.
do you want to talk about for 3 minutes? What's your favourite subject in the world?
Favorite subject in the world? Probably writing and books. I mean, if anyone has any questions they'll like me to answer, please do send in a text.
0404000736, or you can find Jacinta online at
Jacinta Maree is, if you're looking me up on Facebook, just Jacinta Maree.
JACINTA space MAREE.
Yep, you got it very good.
Yep.
But
I didn't during the week.
I know, you spelt it wrong.
You had a go at me.
How could you? But I guess while we wait for any questions to come through, the most popular question I always get asked at conventions, and it actually has a lot to do with publishing. Aspiring writers just ask, how do you do it? How do you publish? Now, I could go on an hour just talking about this, but cutting it real quick.
But we have about a minute and a
About
half.
a minute. Cutting it real quick. My answer to it all the time is join the community. Go find an author friend or find me on Facebook and just add me. Say, hey, listen, I want advice. I want help. I'll bring you into the community and we'll try and answer as many questions as we can. But the big thing, especially going indie, is you need help. And you join this amazing indie community that we are a part of, and we will help you get whatever you need. If it's editing, if it's cover design, if it's publishing yourself or becoming just pure writer, it's best to just talk to us. Reach out to someone. Yeah.
Jacinta, it's been fun. It's always fun having you in. It's the second time. I think it went really well.
Wonderful.
I'm very happy with how that
Yes!
went.
Awesome.
I'm very happy, and I'll get it online so everyone can hear how it went. Whoa. Yeah, thank you for coming in. I'll see you next weekend at AMC.
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah.
come and
Say hello.
annoy you at your table while you're trying
Please
to sell
do.
multiple books.
No.
No, I'll be working there, so I won't be able to spend too much time. And yeah, good luck for the rest of the year. I hope the next book comes out soon. Get motivated.
Yeah, no. Get off my butt. Let's do something.
But you've also got to be in the right mental state to be able to do it.
To get something good. Yeah.
So let's go out with a bang. I'm not on in 2 weeks because we've got an outside broadcast at the Sandringham Festival. 2 weeks after that, I'll be volunteering at another convention. And then 2 weeks after that, I'm back, and I'm hoping to have a really cool guest in the studio sitting opposite me. So stay in contact with me on Facebook. I'm Go Goodman Live, all one word, Go Goodman Live on Facebook, and on Twitter as well. If you want to tweet me, Facebook me, just see how I'm coming along. Just say hi, I don't mind. Other than that, I'll talk to you later. You've been listening to the Alain Go Goodman Show. I hope you continue listening. And Mark will be on with Live Sunday Sessions right after this. Bye.